When I first got told I had Asperger's, I kind of just blew it off as like, okay, cool, now I have like a get out of jail for free card. I can just use it as an excuse to be different, I guess. And as I've gotten older, I've thought more and more about it, and I think the real conclusion is that it's pretty much a non-existent thing. Like, it's like the ways, like people say it's how your brain is wired. It's wired differently and all this, and you behave differently, and there are certain things that are strengths and some things that are weaknesses. But that's the same thing with pretty much any human person, as we are all born differently and we all have different strengths and weaknesses ourselves. And I think a lot of the behavior that people would put under that kind of Asperger's autism vibe is just different behavior. If you just like behave differently, sit differently, do things that aren't normal, because that's pretty much what it is. It's just a label that says, hey, you're not normal. And it's like, I am normal. What the hell are you on about? This is stupid. Being Asperger's doesn't mean anything. Like, it's less about what Asperger's is and more like the things that I actually have myself that make people think I have Asperger's. Instead of looking at it as they have Asperger's, look at their strengths and weaknesses and the things that work and the things that don't. And that should be applied to every student. Like, even the ones who, quote unquote, people would say are normal. Like, if I was going to be a teacher, I would have a class file of every student, their strengths, their weaknesses, what works, what doesn't, you know, that kind of thing, so I can give them the best teaching experience I could. I think as I've gotten older, I've learned that school isn't just, you know, oh, the teachers are bad or the teachers are good. It's a lot of the problems are both from the students and the teachers, and it's less about the teacher trying to force feed it to you and more that you two have to make a bond or a connection to both kind of learn together, as it's like a partnered thing instead of just one person taking over the other. So I think if schools want to get better, they need to find a way to I guess, communicate and, you know, help students in a way that seems fair and validated. And as far as disabilities go, the only real disabilities are physical disabilities in terms of like, you know, losing legs so you can't do PE or whatever, you know, that kind of thing, or the mental disabilities which hinder how much you can learn or your mental age. Like things like autism and Asperger's are just these weirdly behaved children that I think you could either have this authoritarian approach of, you know, controlling them, which will prevent them from doing reckless things, or you could have this libertarian approach of, you know, being kind to them and showing them how they should behave. And I think that's really what a lot of teachers need to do. Like, you need to drop the ego. Like, you ain't special, all right? There's about 7 billion people on the earth. You ain't special, I ain't special. The two people in front of me ain't special. They're just people. They started with what they have, and they've gotten here through hard work and dedication. And I think you've done that as well, so good on you. But at the same time, you shouldn't have an ego for something like this. You need to understand that teaching children and kind of reaching to them is more important than having this kind of ego of, I'm superior, why do these stupid children not understand? But I guess in primary school, I had a teacher who understood my style of, it was less that she understood my Asperger's or whatever, it was more she understood how I functioned as a person. Like, she knew that I derail a lot, I go off tangents, I love to talk to people, all that kind of stuff. So what she did is she put me around people who had a very strong work ethic, who would resist the urge to talk to me, and she pretty much told them all, you know, do not talk to Hamish until he's done his work. And so eventually over time, that led to me just doing my work as fast as possible and then talking to them. And it's because of her that I ended up in the top class in high school. The teacher of that year comes to me and she's like, why aren't you writing? And I'm like, because I'm upset because my mum's gone and all this. And she's like, you need to be doing more handwriting. And I'm like, I know, but I'm sad. Can you please give me a moment? And then she comes back and realizes I still haven't read anything. And so she gets angry and starts yelling at me. And she starts screaming at me. She starts saying I'm being useless and all this kind of stuff. And I don't even think this is an Asperger's thing, but just like yelling as a whole, like it destroys children. Like that was something that really scars me as a lot of the time is yelling. Like a lot of people I've met who yell, like there's two types of yelling. There's this yelling like probably how I'm talking right now, and then there's this aggressive yelling like screaming at you, making you feel terrible and all that. That's what she was doing. Pretty much puts me into like super crying mode, like crying and all that. And I end up running out of the room. Like I was just super upset. Like that's not how you're meant to teach. You don't go off and yell at students. Like that is just, like they probably won't pass today, but like that's just like something no one should be doing. Like if you think yelling is a solution, you need to go back and restart your teaching career. Like you need to go back to uni. Like that is not how you treat children in any respect. Even if you are a teacher, even if you aren't a teacher, you don't yell at your bloody children. That's just something you don't do. I think the other challenge that I had, and this was probably the only challenge I had, is that I was a very angry person. And when I got angry, I had no morality barrier. Like I had nothing that said, do not hit that person, that's a bad idea. And over the years, people have learned not to, like, because, you know, there's all these different forms of bullying, like hitting people and all that kind of stuff. People learned not to hit me, but they learned to wind me up. I think that, like, you can break it down to multiple levels, but the real question is, can they keep up? And if they can't keep up, then why are they there? And I'm not saying, you know, cut the lights of, like, everyone who can't succeed. It's more, you need to put them in an environment where they can, like, you need to put them somewhere for them to learn at their own pace.